While the city fights back against a deadly pandemic, gun violence in Toronto has not slowed down. Despite COVID-19 restrictions, the number of shootings in our city remains high, a disturbing statistic leading into the summer when Toronto typically sees a spike in gun violence. More than 10 shootings across the city in the past 10 days. A string of gun violence just last night. 2 boys were rushed to hospital on Grand Ravine near Jane and Finch. But to some, incidents like this are not surprising.
People are under a lot of pressure, and that's quite apart from, gang-related violence, which is quite resistant to cycles of changes.
According to statistics from Toronto Police, since the beginning of the year, the number of shootings has been on the rise compared to last year, with a significant jump in March.
If substance abuse and disadvantage and exclusion are driving violence, there's nothing about COVID that's stopping that.
Toronto police say it's too early to draw any conclusions about what the summer may bring. In a statement to City News, a spokesperson said in part, "Since the pandemic started, our weekly shooting statistics have fluctuated, much like other major crime categories. While it's too early to make any determination on possible trends associated with COVID-19, what hasn't changed is our commitment to tackling gun violence. Shootings will still take place, like those over the past few days, but we will continue our role of enforcement and finding those responsible."
I had a meeting with the police chief yesterday to discuss what we were doing and what we might be doing going forward, as well as with the deputy chief and a number of other people. I will be working with him to make sure that we have the resources that we need to have plans in place, as I believe we do now, but to enhance those plans to make sure that we can fight this violence as best we can, regardless of the weather and regardless of what's going on with the pandemic.
Sukyur worries that many of the summer programs and job opportunities for youth that are now gone because of the pandemic may inadvertently add to the problem, calling them covert crime prevention strategies.
We're losing so many of those services and programs. I think we're in for a rough time.
Sukyur believes continued border restrictions may mean less firearms being trafficked into the country, but there are still plenty of illegal firearms already on this side of the border. While she is advocating for a handgun ban across the country, she says part of addressing the issue, especially during the pandemic, will be communities stepping up to support each other.
Think about ways you can provide additional help to people in your neighborhood. That's a really good starting point. This is a time when we all need to give until it hurts.
In Toronto, Natividad, City News.